We're going to talk about the integration between funding institutional and pure. And I have two good colleagues with me here, Sophia and James. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Malene. Oh, so yeah,
So
I am
not
from the University of Utrecht, but let's see if this works. Okay, we're done with the coffee break as well. So thank you so much for joining this session. Even though it's at a little bit the end of the program, my name is Zsófia Büttel. I am the Senior Product Manager of Funding Institutional. And together with James Toon, who probably doesn't need an introduction because this is his 15th talk, we're going to talk about unlocking your research funding success with the pure and funding institutional integration. So institutions face a number of challenges during the grant management workflow. And some of these challenges include insufficient research distribution, compliance issues, lack of transparency, and also time-consuming administrative work. And these can all hinder an institution's success and also as they progress towards making impact. So through Pure and Funding Institutional, we help institutions to navigate the entire funding lifecycle from pre-award compliance, from pre-award planning to post-award compliance. So we help the institutions excel and succeed in turning their grants into important impact. So in the coming slides, we will walk you through the different common steps of the grant management process, and we will give you an overview in how we support you in those different steps. So the first crucial step of the process is finding and prioritizing funding opportunities. And this is where it all begins, and it can often be a daunting task. So Funding Institutional helps institutions and researchers to find relevant funding opportunities and map the funding landscape. And we do that by aggregating over 37,000 funding opportunities. We also have in our database over 7 million awarded grants, and wherever possible, we link those grants awardees to Scopus author profiles, and we also link the awards to resulting publications in Scopus. We gather data from over 14,000 funders globally. And there is a very exciting announcement that I have in this talk. Our funding opportunity coverage actually expanded just in the past few weeks by 40%. So if you have a great attention to detail, you might still spot in the abstract, I put 27,000 opportunities, and that was actually not a typo. But when I was submitting the abstract, that was the number we had. And in the past couple of weeks, we made huge effort to implement the new data in the system. So about 40% more white hair for me and 40% more funding opportunities in funding institutionals for researchers to succeed. Okay, so Funding Institutional also offers a simple and personalized user experience. So we had researchers in mind when we designed the platform so that they can find easily the funding that they need and what they are eligible for. Research managers can also include internal funding opportunities in the system, and they can make those visible only to their institution's researchers. So with that, the platform can provide a holistic view of all the funding sources that are available. The platform also provides funding opportunity recommendations matched with Scopus author profiles. So we use a data-based approach to match researcher profiles with the most suitable funding opportunity based on the expertise of researchers and the subject areas they publish in. And last but not least, we also link the funding discovery process to the research project workflows through the award management, the pure integration, and also it is possible through open APIs. And actually, besides the big data coverage upgrade, we also had some time for some exciting feature upgrades. So I just wanted to showcase a few of them to you. We've upgraded our homepage. We've added Researcher Academy's funding-related resources to our homepage to make these visible for researchers. So when they are already in the workflow of discovering funding, looking for funding, they can find these useful resources on how they can succeed in their funding game. We've also sorted our funding data by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We used Elsevier's methodology to sort the funding data. Of course, we had to tweak this methodology to be suitable for funding information because we used it before for publications. So you can look at opportunities and also awarded grants sorted by the SDGs. And when you get this list, you can still refine your searches based on the filters that we have, so subject area filters, eligibility filters, or even the amount of funding available. And actually, at this point, I will hand it over to James to talk about the next steps.
Hi, everyone. So yeah, I'm just going to take a little bit of an opportunity to just kind of inform people who maybe don't know how this synchronization works between the system, in terms of how the pure and funding institutional relationship is basically put together. So, as Sophia says, once the opportunities have been discovered through funding institutional, there's an opportunity in there to be able to then kind of push those through directly into Pure itself. So that's at the point at which we can then start to pick up on the process within Pure itself. So in broad terms, we have a development phase that sits in. So when the opportunity has come back into Pure, we can then start to kind of push those opportunities to the relevant individuals or to the relevant organizations. And then we start working on that kind of early stage implementation work. So supporting initial kind of checking. We have pre-approval workflow stages where you can assign somebody from the research office to specifically work with you on early kind of checks to make sure that the applications are kind of well formed and meeting the needs of the funder and so forth. And we also kind of provide some integrations as well in this service. And in particular, we have an integration with BlackDACL as a costing tool, which lets institutions calculate draft budgets and more formal kind of budgets and push those through on a regular basis into the system. And then moving into sort of the internal approval stages, we have then sort of new functionalities that are in place now to support the whole process of compliance management around sort of internal kind of integrity checking management work and so forth. We have milestones as a task management workflow tool. We have the review content type, which supports some early kind of pre-assessment kind of workflow kind of needs. And we also have integrations as well with specialist tools. So if you want to be running a much more formal kind of ethical review workflow process, then we have that integration with Infonetica as well in place within there. New features, including the parallel workflow functionality, which has been implemented since last year. And we're also now working through the whole process of managing contracts in the system as well to support both in the pre and post-award space. So if you're running NDAs or other forms of kind of pre-contracting checks and so on and so forth within there. And that runs all the way through then to the process of actually kind of submitting the application. So yeah, just a little spotlight on a few of the kind of most recent changes we've made that we want to kind of really kind of emphasize. So milestones has been an interesting area. We've had it in Pure for a very long time, but we made some significant improvements to it in the last few years to try and really normalize how it can be used. So that it can be used as a process management opportunity across multiple content types. And the review type that's in now, again, is a fabulous kind of new kind of tool to support some of these kind of governance type requirements. And then in the post-awards, so once we've gone all the way through the workflow process here, we can now start to kind of work on monitoring projects and looking at grant success. So how to manage milestones, for example, to track things like kind of regular reporting cycles to allow for kind of drawdowns of funding and so on and so forth. We're able to synchronize budget data in from finance systems, including expenditure data, and we're also working on updating that now so that in the next version, we'll also have the ability to bring commitments data into the system. And ultimately, tying all this through to projects and awards allows us to be able to kind of start assembling data that makes it much more simple, if you like, for us to then start kind of reporting on outcomes for funders and so forth within the system that they're there. So I'm going to hand it back over to Sophia now to talk a little bit about the proposed improvements in our joint projects.
All right, so last year I had a talk also on funding institutional, and I mentioned already some of the things that we wanted to work on, like improving our search efficiency. So to address that, we did sort funding information by relevant themes, including the Sustainable Development Goals. In about 2 weeks' time, we are also adding a number of curated research areas, and these will include areas like artificial intelligence, coronavirus research, quantum computing, and so on and so forth. We also extended, so you can import the funding opportunities into award management, and we have expanded the metadata that was available for this import, including the notes that can be linked to funding opportunities in funding institutional. So what is coming next? We are looking at synchronizing saved searches that users can set up in funding institutional to get those, the new results, the new funding opportunities that match the saved searches to come into Pure in an automated manner. We are also looking at further connecting the discovery workflows through enhanced recommendations. And last but not least, and this is a very exciting project that we're working on with James, is supporting the internal funding and internal competition management bit. So to give you a bit of an overview of how we're looking to support this process, it is already possible for research administrators to set up internal opportunities in funding institutional, also in award management, but we will also make it possible for them to mark funding opportunities where they want to run an internal competition. So these opportunities might not be a limited submission type of opportunity, but still the institution might want to run an internal competition to make sure they put their best foot forward, so we make it possible for admins to mark these. And when researchers would find these opportunities in funding institutional, they could go ahead with an application, or they could express their interest. We could include like a pre-populated profile that could be powered by Scopus or by the Pure profiles, and they could include a short description of their idea, why they should get the particular award at their institution. So then this application would go over to award management for research admins to do the necessary routing of the applications. So they would assign reviewers, they can request approvals. And as the applications progress through the workflow, that would be linked back to funding institutional for researchers to see what is the status of their application. And also to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of the very initial designs that we have on this. So once researchers find the funding opportunity in funding institutional, they would find the possibility to click apply for that funding opportunity or express their interest. They would get then a preloaded profile, and they could include the short description of their idea or why they should get the particular award. And at this point, I would like to mention that we are well aware that there are certain funding opportunities awards that require way more information. So this is now a design for a more simpler application, and we are looking at how we can address more complex applications. And then, oh, that's not very nice. So once they get the application in, then they could track the status that you cannot see at the moment, but believe me, it looks very nice with some colors. So we wanted to wrap up with a little poll. So if you have your phones at hand, we wanted to ask you how your institution currently manages internal funding applications, if you have those. So it's either via email and spreadsheets, you already use a dedicated tool, or your institution actually doesn't offer internal awards. Okay, so I see a lot of emails and spreadsheets coming up. Maybe then I would ask from those of you, are you happy? Okay, we kind of thought so, right, James? All right, and also for those of you who use a dedicated tool, are there any of you who already use award management for this purpose? Maybe those could give us a hands up.
And I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Oh, okay.
But we need James in another room in 1.5 minutes, James.
Okay. Okay, so well, thank you so much for your attention. And one last remark, and James, you can go on the way. I just wanted to say that in the app, under resources, you find useful resources about funding institutional, so you can check out some more details about the tool. One thing, you will not see the correct number of funding opportunities that we cover because our colleagues cannot keep up with us. We are improving so fast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, and so sorry for interrupting you.